This conference will
uh,
now be recorded.
APU and SPP as well. So working in TCS, that's all from my side.
Yeah, you can go with your presentation. We can't hear
Okay,
Islam.
sure. So let me share my screen. So we are going to cover up the whole SPP systems and those topics which we will be covering throughout our all the sessions in this like modules. Under the module, will be first of all we'll see the extended service ESPP, what is that, and what's the system landscape? Why do you need that system? Instead of having APO, why do you need SPP? And other system setups, what is planning service triggers and versions. So these are the list of the topics we will be covering. So I'm not going to discuss all those topics, like read out those topics now, just skipping. So these are the list of topics which we'll be covering throughout all the sessions. And mostly like today, I'll be covering module 1, which is basically the extended service bus planning. Why do you need these systems? Instead of having other planning systems like APOs, why do you need these systems? And also like what is the system landscape? How it was designed above of the APO. Uh, there is like prerequisite of the system setup as well, like user needs to have a access and planning service. All those assignments should be there for this system access. And so this is the list of the topics. I'm just skipping those now. Okay. So, first of all, I'd like to tell like why do you need SPP? It's basically like APO was able to handle, and then instead of having that, why we are going for SPP? It's because like in service parts we have a complex design and the supply chain. That's why this is one of the main reasons of going forward for the SPP. And next point is that like we design VOD, bill of distribution, for the SPP. Bill of distribution is basically like we design the DC or distribution centers in a network or a hierarchy type. So this is gives us a visibility to do a better forecastings and distribution of products on, and it enable us to reach to the customers in a better way. And the next point is like in SPP, basically a product, it has multiple and millions of products in the systems. If you go to the different systems of the SPP, you will be see different companies have millions of products, like 1 million, 2 million, 5 millions of products. Even I heard from the cat as well, like they have more than 5 millions of products. And so this is like high volume of products. It requires a vast system and customized solution for processing and forecasting. That's why we are moving for the SPP instead of having our APO system. Next is like it has vertical and horizontal flow of goods. Like vertical in the sense you see, suppose there is a parent location and it has a child location. So distribution of product from the parents to the child, we can tell is at vertical, the flow of goods, and also like horizontal in the sense between the two intermediate parents. So a VOD is A and it has two child location B and C. So between B and C there could have a transfer of goods like STOs, those things. And This I have discussed like huge number of active parts we have there in the systems, and it has a large lifespan. Like for a parts, we do forecasting for a very long period of time, and it has a very large sales history, and large number of orders are there, because like if see a single millions of parts are there, then there could be a millions of orders should be there in the systems. Okay. And in some scenario, like new products also get introduced very frequently in the in our systems. If you go for the consumer sides, which generally you use APO systems, there could be less number of introduction of new products. So if you go for the J&J, they how much the product they are launching in every year, it's like very minimal. But where is if you go for the service parts, a car making company has producing thousands of new parts, and like also like obsoleting old parts and introducing new parts, did some engineerings in the existing parts, and introducing new parts. So those parts, how do you forecast those for those newly introduced parts? This is like we can say sporadical demands, like how we can come up with those solutions for a new product. It does not has a demand history in the background, or like maybe it has a history with a similar type, not exactly the same product. So it also gives us advantages of high moving parts. So these are the few like advantages why do you go for those systems. So this is a simple like SPP landscape, we can say. Like you see CRM systems is basically like order management system, we can see, which takes the order from the dealers or customers. Then it's also connected with the SPP, and also we can see ECC would be there. So whatever the order, it would be also in the ECC, and like through RFC core interface, we involve all those systems. We integrate all those systems. So I'll discuss this details in the upcoming slides. So as I said, a BOD. So BOD is basically its type of hierarchy. Before BOD, we have to define a hierarchy. Hierarchy is basically it's an I imagine like that structure of the BOD. You see, a hierarchy is a level. Like for this BOD, I have some levels of BOD. Like here, this is one. This is the supplier. So this is the entry location of the BOD. So it has some intermediate child location. You see, these are the intermediate parents location, and the BOD could have the facing location is basically like which location is facing to the customers. For this kind of, in this BOD we can see this is the facing location, because this is directly dealing with the customers. This is also directly dealing with the customers. This is the child location, and this location we can tell intermediate parent location, and this is the main parent location. And this is this location can have a virtual location as well. Virtual, why do we need virtual location? Is basically like in some DC, or in some DC which don't which also have some customer facing location. You see, okay, Hamburg is basically because it is the entry point, so it keeps some stocks to deal with the customers. That's why it has created a virtual location for that. Similarly, we can have this should be okay, and similarly we can have a virtual child location for this one as well. Right now we don't have, but we can make it. Okay. And for the customer facing location, we don't need virtual location because it's already facing the customers. Okay. So BOD, I think it's clear what is BOD. So before BOD, we defined hierarchy. Hierarchy is basically what's the level of the BOD. For this, we can see three levels: one, two, three. So we have to define what will be the hierarchy of the BOD. According to that, we create BOD in SPP systems. Hope this is clear. Okay. So it's like what service parts gives us advantage, like demand forecasting. We can pick up the existing products, existing sales order, and do the forecastings. Also, it helps for the slow parts and fast moving parts. And as I said, like sporadical demands in such a scenario, what happens like we have introduced a new product, or like it does not have a sales history, or maybe due to some reason the sales history does not exist for some periods. In those cases, it gives SPP gives us advantage of dealing with those all those products. It helps for the new parts and long-term forecasting, short-term forecasting, leading indicator based forecasting, automation, model selection and evaluation. Like if there is an error in the forecasting, it can automatically detect the new forecasting model, so without intervention of manual efforts and all. And it's make a pretty good stocking and destocking decisions, like which location should we be the stocked location. Suppose in the previous here, suppose if I take the New York, so it will decide with the some condition where I whether I should keep the New York uh, as a stocking or destocking location. Stocking basically like it can keep the stocks, whereas destocking basically is like, okay, should I keep the stock here or should I move the stock from this. So based on some condition, it's not like randomly, it's some condition table we do maintain for this, so which helps us to make the decision, like while stocking and destocking jobs runs, it makes a decision on some conditions and do some stocking and destocking. And also like safety stock and economic order quantity. Safety stock is basically we want to maintain some minimal level of stocks in our warehouse, so in our facing locations, to avoid like any shortage of materials or parts. EOQ is basically, suppose economic order quantity determination is basically, suppose I want to order five material because suppose you consider Bangalore, so some products are coming from Delhi. So what quantity should be better to order from the Delhi, so that like the traveling cost, all those expenses could be minimized, and the procurement values, or like procurement costs can be minimized. Those calculation done with the EOQ. Aggregate supply planning is like we can take all those demands from the lower location, like child location, as well as intermediate parents location to the BOD entry points. Those things. Here is some other also, like deployment simulations, short-term distribution, and complex supersessions. Those are the few advantage of those SPP we'll have. And also like alert monitoring. If there is any shortage of materials, we can see those alerts in the alerts monitoring systems, or like SNC also get involved in there to monitor all those alerts. Okay. Any doubt here?
No.
Okay. Okay, this slide at the beginning, like as I discussed, like how complex supply chain is solved, like vertical and horizontal flow of goods, how the goods of are flown throughout the systems, and what's the requirement is basically a high transparency. Transparency is basically like how we can see in the uh, each node of the BOD. Like if facing location or a child location, we can see what's the demand of that particular locations, or intermediate location if you take what's the demand of that intermediate locations. So those things we can have a better visual visibility, those transparency we get here. It's also give like huge number of active parts. We can solve this problem with the with this, like if we have millions of products, it also helps to minimize the complexity of forecasting those materials and all. Okay. And effective management of service parts, it's like this comes into the management scenario where the management people will be able to, planner will be able to visualize all those reports, can do the better forecasting, like if there is uh, any like change in the forecast required, so those can like they can visualize how the forecasting is going on with those reports. Okay. In this slide is basically you see with the green color is what we have defined only for the service parts and procurement. And procurement is basically in the ECC side, how do you procure the materials. Okay. And also in those whole landscape, warehouse management also comes into picture for the picking and packing of the parts. Okay. And for the sales and distribution, this landscape comes into picture. This takes the order from the customers. And okay. Okay, parts demands planning. Parts demand planning is like how do you forecast for those materials. Okay. And inventory and supply planning, how we are going to supply those materials, and DRP and distribution logistic is basically deployment of the parts throughout throughout the all our networks when we receive the parts at our entry point. Okay. So second is the procurement is what we have defined in the ECC. If there is any STO goes from one location to the any other, either child location or the intermediate parent location, how the STOs are. So we can through the ECC basically here we have all those datas, and procurement, all those contracts or info record also will have integrated with the ECC. And whatever when there would be any requirement to get the products from the external supplier, it will be released to the supplier collaboration tools like SNC. Okay. Hmm. This is like whole landscape of the SPP, how it is. It's see, this is our ERP systems. We can consider like this is our ECC systems. So in SPP, we transfer the master data from the ECC. That could be product master data or contracts, PIR. Those things we integrate those things with the ECC. So whatever master data is there will get transferred from the ECC to SPP through core interface CIF. Mostly like plants also we do transfer from the ECC, plant material, vendor master data, info records, contracts, all those things. And this also transactional data also we will transfer from the ECC, communicates between the ECC and SPP. Transactional data is basically, suppose we have a stock in the ERP, we will communicate those to the ECC. There is any change in the stock in the ERP system, that will get transferred to the SPP. Suppose there is any inbound received at the ERP system stock, some stock has been changed, so it will go to the, through transactional data, it will go to the SPP. And for SNC to monitor the alerts, or whatever the PR we released, or PO basically to we have released to the suppliers. So those can visualized in the SNC customer view or supplier views, we can see. So in essence, we will have two views. One is customer views and another is supplier views. Customer views is basically for customers who will have access only to that, so see all those alerts or monitors, or purchase orders, all those. This can have only access to the buyers. That means if suppose Ford is doing the planning, so only Ford internal people will have to access to the SNC customer view, while a suppliers SNC supplier views is only for the suppliers. Whatever the purchase order that has been released to the suppliers, they can have all those datas there according to their supplier IDs. They can have only access to that particular purchase order or schedule agreement, whatever we implement based on our business requirements, schedule lines. Uh, Apart from that, also GATP comes into pictures here, and that's also under the PO box. All those things comes up. GATP is mostly used for to check the availability of the products. Suppose any order was getting created in the ECC system or CRM, it will go to GATP to check which location will have this product. Is it available to the facing location? Facing location means the customer facing location where the order was created. If it is not there, then it will try to procure from the other locations, as we maintain the rules. Any doubt here?
No, I'm
No. So SPP is here few stages of whole service parts planning and parts analytics. Okay, so supply chain designs, here we have to design our BOD structures, or the BOD structure, how, and also the hierarchy of each BODs, how the BODs is, and the virtual locations of each, for each locations, for whatever the facing location or not facing location, for intermediate parents location or entry points. If we want to maintain any virtual location, we can have this, and inventory balancing areas to group location allowed to exchange the quantities. Suppose during the inventory balancing, if there is any extra quantities there in some location, or if there is any deficiency of product in some location, we can have um, communication, or like to send those goods to different location to meet their requirements. Okay, parts demands planning, sophisticated forecast model to for the slow moving and the new parts. We will have the automated forecast models to evaluate if there is any wrong calculation, or the forecast is forecast output is not going correctly. So we'll have automated forecast model evaluation, which can with the best fit, it will evaluate, and it will check the results. Once we see that okay, the output seems to be correct, so it will generate, and it will send the forecast to the downstream. Automatic realignment of historical data. Suppose if there is any promotion was going on at that time, so abnormal increasing order quantity can be there. So how do you normalize those? So automatic realignment of data happens on those scenarios. Okay, next is parts inventory planning. Okay, dynamic stocking and destocking decision takes place here. As I said, like which location should to be stocked and which location should to be destocked. So stocking decision jobs basically we run every day, and destocking done mostly like based on the business requirements. Mostly can be done in a month, or like destocking we do. Suppose if the location has gone below some requirements, like if there is no demand in this particular location for a particular product, so we can do the destocking of the products from that particular location. Okay, and stocking also, if some location earlier there was no demands at that particular time, but right now there is a demand generating at this uh, distribution centers, and then we can make it stocking, make it stock. EOQ safety stock calculations also done on in these steps, parts inventory planning on those. Okay, okay, okay. Part supply planning. So all those aggregated demand, whatever it was calculated, so it will be ruled out to the BOD, and this gets calculated here, whatever the forecast it has. And also it generates the DRP steps runs here. It will send all those, if the products needs to be procured from externally, so it will create either schedule lines or purchase requisitions to procure the products from the external suppliers. So at this step, so we will see those. And next is last is deployments. So suppose if there is any change in stocks happens in a particular location, so at that time the deployment will get triggered, and this will run. And suppose if there is increasing quantity, suppose we have received some products from the external suppliers at entry point of BOD, so it will distribute all those products products through deployment. Okay, next is like process service parts planning. What does it mean for us? We have divided this service parts into two parts, uh, two sections. One is tactical planning, one is operational planning. Tactical is basically how should I design my distribution and warehouse, all those um, process or forecasting methods, how we have to design the VOD to meet the business requirements, or to meet to fulfill the customers requirements on all those locations on time. And also next point, it helps to provides us which location we should make the product to be available, and which location there is no requirement of particular product. There is some rules also we do maintain for the safety stock and EOQ, all those things. And so all those manage calculations or generation of forecasts or deployment, those things comes under tactical planning. Operational planning is how the planner do every day, how they do with the results of the forecast, how they are going to procure the material from the external supplier, what's the lead time, they are going to cover up the forecast, what about generated for the futures. So those things they handle all those things. So those sections comes under operational planning. It's like how you keep running all the business, what's all the business, and based on the results whatever we have got from the tactical planning. Okay. section vendor management, internal or external, to ensure the on-time delivery of the quantities. And it's how much order quantity should I procure from the external supplier? Is there any overestimation of forecast or what? We have to see all those things here. And also, how should I handle stock transfer within the distribution network? How we have to distribute those quantity whatever we have received at the DC, how we are going to distribute those products throughout our entire networks. Okay, as we have seen, like tactical, so these parts comes under tactical planning and this comes under uh, operational planning. Okay, tactical planning, first of all, everything first of all comes capture of demand history. So this is the main thing for before of doing everything. Capture of demand history is what we have received from the sales and distribution systems, or like what's the whatever sales system we set up. Maybe it is SD or CRM or some other systems as well. So those data capture, we capture all those demand histories that can be like 12-month, 24-month or 36-month demand history we do receive. And next sections is stocking and destocking decision we make here. For because you see, forecasting we cannot do for all those locations and all those products, so we have to make a decision like for which location is the stocking location, so and which location is the destocking location. So if there is any change, we have to do realignment of the forecast according to that stocking and destocking uh, decisions. So this jobs runs here, stock and destocking job runs here before we do our actual forecastings. Once this jobs is run, or it is we have make a fair decision on the stocking and destocking, then manage of demand history comes into picture. Management of demand history is basically if there is any extra demand or like any unwanted demand, or that is there in the sales history, so you have to manually adjust those. Suppose in previously, maybe due to some reason there was a lockdown, so there was a huge down in the demand, so we have to adjust those demands. Or also there is, if there was any promotion was going on at that time, so or maybe due to some there was some situation was there which got increased of the quantity demand of those products, so we have to balance out those abnormal demand here. It's like we can do manually demand adjustment or auto realignment of demand history we can do here at the step. Next is those whatever we have got like raw data or adjusted data we have, whatever we have done, so we'll feed to the forecasting jobs. It will do all those forecastings here. So once forecasting is done on that, next comes EOQ and safety stocks. Here we calculate what is the economic order quantity for this particular product, what quantity of order we should get from that suppliers or external suppliers, what would be the best quantity we should order from that. It's not like we have ordered only half truck and half truck it's empty, so there would be increasing the transportations and procurement of the product. Also, like how much quantity we should keep in our warehouse or based on our demand. It's not like I have kept so much in my warehouse, there is no demand, it has some cost involved in keeping those products in the shelf. So that's why you have to make fair decision on that. So this is all done based on the EOQ and EOQ jobs. And safety stock is whatever the forecast jobs that has generated, we have to see what is the minimum safety stock we do maintain. So whatever forecast it has generated, it will try to make a minimum safety stock on that to avoid any shortage of materials of any particular locations. Okay. Surplus and obsolescence is suppose if product may be going to obsolete in future. So those things we manage on those last part. Also, if there is any excess of the quantity, so of those things we deal here. After EOQ and safety stocks, those data will be fed to the DRP. At that time, DRP will calculate what how should I procure this material from the procure this material. Maybe it is externally we have to. So it will generate if it is a schedule line or schedule agreement we have maintained, so it will generate schedule line, sorry. If we have maintained schedule agreement, it will generate schedule lines. If we have maintained contracts, then it will generate purchase requisitions. So that will be flown to the external suppliers. So supply once the suppliers and before that, like one before releasing all those schedule agreements, or so we'll have approval process for those. If we do maintain, there is mass approval also there. We have to approve all those quantity in mass. We can do release of schedule agreement, those things. And once we have released and we have approved it, it will go to the suppliers for the procurement of the materials. When the material comes in our systems, the deployment will get trigger, and deployment will do a fair transfer of materials to the different locations. So based on the demands of the different locations, it's internally called DRP metrics to see all those demands on which location, what's the requirement, what's the lead time. Though based on that, it will calculate and it will do deployment of those quantity. Also, maybe it also involve in inventory balancing as well. If there is any extra demand in some extra quantities in some locations, so it will try to balance out. And out here.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Along with that, we have analytics and monitoring systems. So we
Mm-hmm.
can have SNC portal or maybe your own customized system as well to monitor. So once the forecast has generated, we can send all those forecasts to the SNC to see all those forecast here in the portal itself, and what's the minimum EOQ and safety stock we have defined. So it can also be sent to the SNC to see all those uh,
Okay.
datas for
Okay.
clear visibilities.
Mhm. So one thing like, can I know your name, please? Actually, starting I didn't
Maman,
understand.
yeah. Hmm.
Maman. Okay.
Hmm.
So Maman, like, can you like show me what are all the topics you are going to cover in this process, in this training actually?
Mm, okay, and this is in the first. Okay, here.
So these are
This
all
is like.
the like. Mhm.
Hmm.
This is like
These are
this
the
is the
topics. Would
topics
you?
you are. Okay. So okay,
Do
like
you get?
yeah. So like how many days it going to be this training?
Mm, yeah, each module may take 1 or 2 sessions.
Okay. So like approximately how many days you are going to cover?
Days I can each topic two
Or
hours, so we
hours?
can say 20 or 40 hours or 50 hours.
Mm-hmm. So like will you be like showing the system demo as well? Scenarios, running scenarios in
Mm-hmm.
system, live system.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
so after this, like I'll show you the what is the master data, what is get integrated with the APO, what
Yeah.
is the external procurement relationship, all those.
Will you be showing now that?
Now actually I don't have.
Okay, okay.
Can I show like how do you have access for that actually? Yeah, I'll show once like we'll have the setup in my system, huh?
Okay, no problem. Because all these PPTs, it's okay. I can also like get all this online also, right? So what I wanted, like I like I know little bit SPP, so the reason I already like gone through all this process and all. So I just wanted
Yeah,
to know
yeah.
how will you be showing with the scenarios or how it going to like run
In
your
system
training?
we'll be showing, yeah, throughout the session.
Hmm.
It's like it's basic what's the things are. So once we go there, then we can correlate those things in the systems. As we have worked
Okay.
on like forecasting, those things all are almost similar. Like how do you maintain the raw data in the systems? I think you have already
Mm.
worked on POs or those things. You are pretty aware of those things.
Yes, yes. So will you be also like covering EPPDS, embedded PPDS? Sorry, embedded
PPDS
SPP.
here.
No, no, sorry, not PPDS, SPP. ESPP. Sorry, by mistake I got, I got into PPDS.
Okay, okay.
So
So
will you be also
mainly,
covering ESPP? Yeah.
if see ESPP, those right now we'll be doing here in the normal what SPP system we generally use.
Hmm.
Normal UI and whatever. At the end session, maybe if I have the access of how ESPP, it's basically mainly on UI, no? So UI things we can show you at the end for how ESPP runs here.
Okay. So what will be the timings actually? Training timings.
Timing,
Mahendra, let me do one thing, okay? Schedule everything. I'll update you like by tomorrow evening or by Tuesday morning. I'll update you the schedule, okay? So like we'll be using S4HANA 2023 server, okay? We are testing it actually. So once that is completed, I will give you more details on the server, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You can hear me, right,
Fine.
Mahendra?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I can.
Okay. Okay. If you have any technical queries, okay, you can ask Mamun, okay, or else I will wind up for the day, okay. Ismail,
Yeah, yeah.
if you have any queries, you can just WhatsApp me. I'll just get back to you on that, okay. Yeah. Mahindra, do you have any more queries?
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay. So once we are ready with the system, okay, let's have one more small demo on system, and then you can go for the enrollment process. Okay.
Sure,
yes.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
Actually,
for
this
your
is my
time.
personal PC, so I won't able to show you demo here. All those
Okay,
like,
no problem. No issues.
uh,
Mamun, you
Okay,
can
thank
be
you.
in the call, okay. So okay.
okay,
Ismail and
sure, sure.
Mahindra, you can.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.